Today I'm going to show you how to make a finished oval or round cross stitch piece. Let's get started. First we're going to get mat board, and this piece that I'm finishing I'm going to do in a round oval shape. Now if you don't have a template, you could use a cup, a lid, anything with the circular shape, and you're going to trace it. Now this piece, this is too small, this circle, so I'm going to be using the biggest circle for this heart, or for this star. Okay, so what we're going to do is you're just going to put it on your mat board, and you're going to trace 1, 2. You got 2 circles on your mat board. Next, we're going to get the batting and do the same thing. The batting could be any kind. You could find mat board at Hobby Lobby, Joanns, Michael's, online. Batting, same thing. Batting you could even find in a quilt store. So I'm going to just do the same thing. Going to be just tracing another 2 circles on the batting. And now we are going to cut these out. Any good craft scissor will do. There is your circle. Now I'm going to cut out all 4. Now the mat board, you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to cut those into circles. Take your time with the mat board. Go slow as you're cutting along the line. Sometimes as I go, I just cut that off. Now there are systems out there where they have the mat and you just do a circle and it cuts out the circle for you. If you don't have money or don't want to invest in that, which I don't, this method works just fine. There is your mat board. I'm going to cut the last one. All 4 pieces are cut out. Now what I'm doing right now is I'm taking the cross stitch piece and I'm putting it on the back, making sure that the piece will fit all around, and this will fit. Okay, so I know my templates will fit. Next, what we're going to do is you're going to take your batting and you're going to attach it to your mat boards. That's going to give it the little cushion and a little bit of puff. Now what you're going to do is you're just going to take a little bit of glue. You don't need a lot. Just on 4 corners. It's really just to hold it in place while you're putting the piece together. And do it on the other one also. Little dab. Little dab. You don't want to do a lot. Just a tiny drop. And then you're just going to put your mat on there. That's it. So you got 1 circle. Try to make sure you have now. There's it. Now you have your 2 circles. Okay, one's the back, one's the front. Okay, now I have my fabric for the back. I'm actually using the same bag that I used on this piece. Okay, this is actually flannel. And you're just going to cut a rough piece that'll fit around it. Now you're going to paste the flannel face side down on the wrong side of your fabric. Okay, next we're going to lace the piece, okay? So your flannel, you have the wrong, this is your right side, so you're going to be doing it face down on the wrong side of your piece. You need a very sharp needle, a good sewing needle. You do not want to use a cross stitch needle, it's not sharp enough. So what you're basically going to be doing is you're going to be lacing around the piece. You just want to lace around the circle. And you're not going to be pulling on it until the end. And you're just going to lace around the whole piece. Now if you feel it's too hard to hold in your hand, you could put it on the flat surface and just lace as you go on a flat surface. Just don't pull it all the way through because you don't do that till the end, okay? Now I'm just using Untitled thread. I found this to be strong enough. You definitely want something that's strong. To me, this is strong enough for this project. And I'm just going to keep lacing all the way around the piece. You do a running stitch basically, it's super easy. You just go around the piece, around the piece. Once I have laced around the whole piece, what I'm then going to do is just use the rotary cutter and trim the excess. You don't want to go too close to your thread, but you do want to trim the excess. Okay. Now when the two ends meet, you'll have your two threads. You come back to the beginning in the circle. Your two threads are going to meet. And this is where the magic comes in. I'm going to try and bring it up close. You have the two threads, your two ends. And you're going to pull those. And you see how it just closes up around the piece? Just keep pulling it. Now it's hard to do, I'm doing it with one hand. But once you pull those two threads, it just wraps around the circle. Perfect. And you're just going to tie those off. Okay, so once you tie it off, you could see it just pulls all of it around, and it perfect around your round shape. Now if you wanted to, now this is laced, it's just a running stitch. If you wanted to, if you want to add glue on the inside, you can, but there's no need to because I'm going to show you how we're going to finish this. I'm going to do the next piece, which is the cross stitch piece. Now when you thread, you want to leave a long tail when you're tying your knot, so that at the end, when you come back to that circle, you have the tail to just pull, because you're going to be pulling two ends. So I leave a long tail until you're not about that, see, about that far in. You leave a long tail so that the knot is here when it goes in your fabric, and then you'll have something to pull when it's done. For demonstration purposes on this one, I'm going to use black so you'll be able to see it, but I'm going to leave a nice tail. So I'm going to start to lace it in the black. Now you won't see this anyway because this will be on back of the piece. Now this piece, what I did is I laced it in black so you could see it. So you could see your lacing goes around the whole piece. And then you have two ends once you come back to the circle that you're going to be pulling together. Now before you pull together, you do want to trim your fabric again. You want to get rid of all that excess fabric. So I'm just going to go around and trim it. You don't want to get too close to the lacing, but you do want to get rid of all this excess. Now we're going to pull your piece together. And if you want to check to make sure before you pull it, you just check your piece. You can adjust it. You want to make sure when it closes, it's around the whole piece. So that's looking good. So we're just going to place it down. You're going to grab your two ends of your thread, the two ends. And you're going to be pulling this. And it's going to hug. You pull it. You see you got the two ends, you pull it because you left the tail. And you just pull it tight. And you're going to tie it off. Now as you can see, once it's tied off, it's going to look like this. There's your star. Now if you don't like the way it came out, the good thing about this is you could just cut it and redo it. You're not gluing it, so it's not permanent on the piece. So you got a nice little round there. Now we're going to be combining the two. Okay, so you have your piece all laced. And now what I'm going to do is you do want to attach your hanging ribbon, so I want it in the point of the star. So what I do is I just cut my ribbon, and what I'll do is on the inside I will place some glue and just put it in place so that when I lace it, the ribbon won't move. So once you got it where you want it, it'll hold in place there. You could even adjust it to the way you want it. So that's how your piece is going to look. Right like that, right in the middle. Now we're going to lace the piece together. So I use double strand, same thing, the Untitled, and I'm going to start this with the loop method. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to lace the piece together. And this is going to hold very tightly. You need just a little piece of both. And as you're going along, you're just going to Pull it tight. Now you see it pulls this very close together. It's very tight as you're going along. And you're going to go around the whole piece. See how tight that is? It's extremely tight. Very tight. You're going to go around the whole piece like that. As you can see, I'm lacing around this. See how tight it is when you lace it? You just keep going around. You really almost can't even see how it's put together when you lace it. Now, once you get up to the ribbon, because you could see I laced all around. It's so nice and tight together. Laced all around. Once you get to the ribbon, I did want to show you that what I do is I go under the back of the ribbon and just come up at the other side. And then just continue lacing. So it goes underneath, inside this fabric, so you don't see it. Okay, so the whole piece is now laced together, nice and tight. Now all these steps I did, you could definitely do with just glue, but this is just the lacing method with just thread and needle. Makes it nice and tight. And now I'm going to add the glue onto the edges and add the cording. Okay, so now I'm going to be adding my cording to my piece. And what I do is I take a toothpick and I apply it to the area. You only need a little bit. And this is more controlled than taking a bottle, in a bottle like this and going around, because glue could get everywhere. And I found that using a toothpick years ago, that just applying it a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. And now I'm going to start to add. So you're going to add the cording a little bit at a time. So I did a little bit there. I'll go back with my toothpick and I'll do a little bit more. You only need a little bit, you don't need a lot. Just a little bit. And then you just bring your cording over. You're going to hold it for a couple of moments and you just do that whole process around the whole piece. Now as you can see, I put all the trim on. That was using a toothpick with a little bit of glue. And that is how you finish a round or an oval piece. I hope that was helpful. There are many different ways to finish pieces. This is just one way. There are times when I just use glue for the whole process and no lacing. But for people who don't like glue, this is a good process. That's the sewing process, and you're only using a little bit of glue around the edge for the cording here, or the trim you're going to add. Okay, now you could definitely sew on the trim. I definitely don't do that. It takes too long. But that is my one process for finishing pieces. I hope that was helpful. Happy stitching.